And welcome back to Survivor 50 Seasons in 50 Days. This is day 41. I didn't just finish watching 41. I've had to do 41 periodically for a while now in order to do this today because I am at a friend's wedding. I am currently in the hotel room shooting this halfway through the reception. So I guess my apologies, whatever. We are joined tonight by Brian to talk about the first season of Survivor post-COVID. I said so last night that I look at, I guess, seasons 1, 2, 40, and 41 with bigger nostalgic goggles than I do almost any other season because of where I was at that point in life. 41, I was always a Survivor fan. I didn't know about the online fandom until COVID. So coming back and meeting people like yourself, everyone that I have met over the last 5-6 years is because basically of what Survivor 41 brought to my life. So for you, where were you at in your Survivor fandom by the time 41 aired? What were your thoughts going into it based off of the longer off season that we've ever had, so basically, what were your expectations going into it?
Well, it's crazy that I don't know if you first started watching like podcasts and stuff around 41, but when Survivor stopped during this COVID hiatus after 40 is when I discovered RAJP and all the other subsequent podcasts, the specialists and various others. So that's when I really dove headfirst into they're talking about this and learning about this stuff. And I was really hyped because I remember listening to Stephen Fishback and Rob Cicierino talking about the cast, and I say this cast delivered, and I've really big nostalgia goggles for this. I know people don't like this season a lot, but I watched this I was at an org meetup as orgs all night reality games. We watched the episode where Heather messed up the reward, couldn't do the challenge for her tribe. So yeah. I guess maybe that's a factor in why I like the season more. But I'm here today to people give this season too much flack. I'm not going to say it's a perfect season because it's not, and production gets in the way too much. But the cast, I believe, makes up for it, and we can get into that later in this pod.
Yeah, and just kind of talk about the cast for everyone that doesn't know at this point. I was a part of the Survivor Diversity campaign during COVID, 50% BIPOC on CPS. It's no longer a thing, but it was a thing for at least the first 9 seasons of the 40s. I guess all 9 seasons of the 40s. You know what I'm saying. And I think from that angle, they did deliver. Now, I know one of the qualms people have about the post-40 Survivor is, 26 days, sob stories, this, that, and the other. I feel like at least 41 and 42 should get an obvious pass because 26 days makes sense because of, everything dealing with COVID, but also sob stories. These people have been sitting in their home dealing with all of your trauma for the last year. This is what's on their mind. Playing Survivor is a big deal for them already. And then you add the fact that they've basically been living under lockdown for the previous year. I understood why a lot of these sob stories were kind of presented. Now, yes, JD's case, for example, where it's okay, so he was a nerd and now he's not a nerd, is kind of, go ahead, Brian.
And Xander's as well, where he was a larger kid when he was younger, but then grew up and he wasn't even that old when this happened. So it's those don't hit for me, but some of them do.
Yeah, so there are some stretches as far as, okay, we're supposed to be bonding with this person because they were once a nerd, when we have Davey and David vs. Goliath, who is outwardly saying, I'm a blurred. It's what I am. So yes, I do understand if you point to the right person as far as the sob story narrative. 26 days, I didn't care about in 41. I still don't care that it's a thing in 50 because we get the same amount of episodes. People are starving. They get less supplies than in a normal season most of the time. But I also understood why a lot of these were kind of added to the game. So for you, looking at the cast, hearing about the monster, what were your expectations for 41? Was it just going to be, okay, no matter what, I have Survivor back, I can't hate it because it's Survivor? Or was it okay, I'm still going to hold it to Winners at War or whatever of the last season for you was the best season?
Winners at War gets a lot. It's very underrated. But in regards to this, I think I really like this season. But production, I was expecting with in regards to the monster when that was first advertised and talked about. Like I thought production was just going to throw twist after twist after twist, and they end up doing that to some extent with the Hourglass and Do or Die, and we'll get into that. But it wasn't really an advantage heavy season. Like they didn't work because it was mainly all extra votes and sprinkled in, but like no idols were played to my corrected to my memory. But like to answer your question about the monster, I think that they were just gonna. I knew, and I think a lot of us knew, and it didn't stop here. That production is just gonna throw twist and twist at this cast instead of trusting their cast to actually provide good TV. Which I believe if they did less twist this season, this cast would. I mean, this season might have been a top tier season if production just let them play. I think just
Let
leave
them
idols in
play.
the game. That's fine, and maybe extra vote here or there. Let them play.
Yeah, and I feel like one of the things I always forget about when I watch 41 is the game within a game because it's so forgettable. Like it's not game changing. It doesn't impact the game. Like this is a twist that doesn't impact the game. It's just it's something for the audience to have fun with because you're not going to let us have fun with everything else going on in the game. The game within the game, it's one of those forgotten moments even in post-COVID era, where I feel like if you ask most people, you remember the game within the game, they'll either say, "Oh my God, yes," or "What are you talking about?" I forgot about it, but so I remember vividly because I did a panel with all the big YouTubers at that point. So it was a Pretium, Idled Out, the Specialists. Who else was there? And there was a fair few people there, and we at one point, Russell Hantz hops in, and he's drunk, and he's talking about how Survivor. It's not my Survivor anymore. It's going to be too woke because of there are brown people now. He says how it's 26 days and how Parvati would not be able to do well in a 26-day game because these are his words, because Parvati doesn't start playing the game until late, which is so funny now because she won a 16-day game last summer. But I just remember everything going into it. I went to my first watch party. I bought shots for a lot of people that night because I could afford to buy a shots for a lot of people that night. And so like there's always going to be nostalgia with 41. And I think that's why for the longest time, I wasn't really vibing with the amount of hatred that this season has gotten. Now, this is my third time doing the marathon, so my fourth time watching this season. I still don't hate it, but I understand that there are a lot of issues that have nothing to do with the cast. One of the big ones is they sat at home for an entire year and decided, hey, we want to introduce all of these twists. Let's just do it all in one season. Let's throw everything at these people and just kind of see what happens. Brian, for you, and you don't have to go into big detail because I'm sure we're going to talk ad nauseum about some of these. What were some of the twists that you vibed with, and were some that you were just like, I'm glad when this is finally gone, or if it's still around, I'll be happy when it's gone.
Well, I like that there's not all the twists land, but for me, we had Ghost Island, we had Exile Island, we had Redemption Island. I like Shipware Island. I like when the players can come, not like oversaturation of it, but I like it once in a while where players can come meet each other from different tribes, get interactions of people we might not see if they're going pre-merge. And we did see JD go on that journey and get to interact with other people. And I believe Sydney Brad also went on a journey with Tiffany.
Right.
But I like the Shipware Island twist because it makes them make a decision. And as long as you'll get to it. As long as you're not rolling dice and it's random, I think it's a good twist. So Shipware Island, I like this season. I don't know when, I know we probably see it again, but I don't know when, but that's what I like. Shipware Island, I liked it.
Yeah. I like Do or Die. Or not Do or Die. That's a lie. I hate Do or Die. Shot in the Dark. I like Shot in the Dark. Oh my God.
I forgot
I wish I could cut this
season. Yeah, it's just and it did call
Shot
City for
in the
Game.
Dark is something that it's basically everyone gets an idol, sort of. It's a lesser powered idol. it's a lesser powered idol. I'm fine with it because I understand idols are always going to be a part of the game now. You nerf the idol, fine. I hate do or die, and we're going to get to do or die a little bit later. The other thing that I like, another twist they add this season that I have no qualms with is Sweater Savvy. Just starting off with something different. That when people say, "Oh, it's the same thing every time," it's like, okay, we got Sweater Savvy this time. That is something different, and I do feel like it worked here. I feel like it works in a few other seasons, specifically the Jelinski season. I don't know if it was even Sweater Savvy at that point. It could have just been whatever, but. Sweater Savvy. Thoughts on Sweater Savvy?
I like Sweater Savvy. It was good. It provided a little drama on the Luvu tribe with Danny and Deshaun doing it, and then Nasir trying to talk to the girls that like they were talking about idols and like idol nonsense. And I liked it, and we didn't know Luvu was going to be as dominant of a tribe. They're one of the most dominant tribes ever, but Sweat and Savvy also can cause conflict, like I believe we see in future seasons. If you don't get it done, it's going to put you on the back foot of your tribe potentially, or people could feel sympathy for you, but you never know how it's going to go. So Sweat and Savvy is just another layer to try to get from production to try to get these players to confront each other, or maybe there's to have that possibility of it happening, and also entertainment for the audience, because I did find it entertaining as well.
You brought up the Luvu tribe. On the other end of that, we have the Ua tribe. Ua
One of my
tribe
favorites.
is the first modern survivor dumpster fire tribe, and because of that, the tribe that we spend the most time with this season, where they just get completely decimated, very similar to Matt Singh many years before this. I think the biggest difference with Ua and Matt Singh is I feel like every character has a distinguishing trait. Like where I don't say necessarily we care about all of them, but like you remember everyone here. Matt Singh, you have to be a big super fan to remember everyone on that one.
Yeah, sometimes I forget the girl likes cookies from Matt Singh. Angie, Angie, I think.
Is it?
It might be, but
It
to your
probably
point,
is.
I think
I
that
haven't watched like 3 weeks in like 3 weeks, but I feel like it probably was. But here, even people like Brad, who I think is the second person got out of this tribe, second or third person out of this tribe, Brad. It just from jump is so over. He gives me Holy Peter vibes from Marquesas of just this guy is a cartoon character and I enjoy him on my screen, but he's not going to outstay his welcome. He's pulling Tonys and hiding, and you do. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna. Well, you brought up Brad, and I made me think of him botching the idol activation with the phrases, and it's like I also like that twist. I forgot about that twist, but I like that one a little bit, and I'm waiting for somebody in a future season to say a random phrase on the mat to get people paranoid to some extent, because that could be gamified in some way. Maybe people won't buy it, but it's a little nugget there that in the open era it could happen.
Yeah, and we'll get to the everything dealing with the idols in a bit, but yeah, we have crazy. I have in my notes crazy Brad. We have JD, who we referenced earlier as his sob story is he was a nerd and now he's not a nerd. We have the Shannon Ricard duo, which I feel like from an audience perspective, we think has legs to potentially go all the way to the end, similar to Malcolm and Denise. It doesn't happen like that. In fact, it's established very early on that they know they're going to go after each other at some point. They understand that they're each other's biggest threat at that point in the game. Now, yes, you don't see everything else going on the other tribes. So, of course, you're going to think you're each other's biggest threat. What did you think of the Shan Ricard dynamic? And also, what did you think of them as characters?
I love them both as characters. The Shantham is one of my favorite things ever, and she was probably one of the people I was writing for the most that should have been on 50. Obviously, when we got the cast, we knew she wasn't, but like she was robbed. I don't know anything about like I don't really follow people after they are on the show. Like if I don't hear about it, but like so I don't know if there's any issues with that. But I love Shan on the show and Ricard as well. Like the way they were just jockeying for power and in the pre-merge, and they were always bickering with each other. They weren't tight like Malcolm and Denise, to go back to that comparison. And they also like I feel like they I don't know, maybe went after each other too early, like because it ended up being both their downfall. Shan and then Ricard was just too big of a threat. Like if you wait till 5 or 4, I think it'll be fine. And one last thing on Shan, I noticed the fact that she's on a 6-person tribe, and it gets whittled down to 2, and she never receives a vote. Is so impressive to me. Shan
Yeah.
is a great player. That it's a tragedy if we never see her again.
And you said you don't pay attention to stuff off. I think that there are at least the fandom, and the fandom doesn't matter when it comes to this kind of stuff. But I think a lot of the fandom has kind of turned on her. Not that we don't know if production has, but a lot of the fandom has. I personally, I don't mind her. The Shantum last night, I'm humming the Shantum, remembering, hey, I get to talk about 41 tomorrow. And the fact that they added audio cues towards the end of the season, whenever she would hum her theme, they would play it in the background as it was happening. I thought it was a very fun editing trick. You brought up the Beware advantage. And I don't remember what season it was that I said that this is it was basically the blueprint for what the Beware advantage is going to be in the 40s.
Was it IOI with Jamal?
No. It wasn't early. It was earlier than that. It was last week at least, maybe a week and a half ago. Can't remember exactly what season it was, but basically laid the groundwork for what we're going to eventually get here of, hey, you found this. Oh, I know exactly what it was. It was Cambodia. You this idol's hidden at a challenge, so if you want it, you're gonna have to actually do things in order to get it. And in here, at first the concept seems fine until you hear the phrases, and until you hear Xander say the same phrase over and over again, and it becomes very embarrassing by the time it gets to the Nasir. And we won't talk about the Nasir part yet, because I do find that one to be compelling.
I have a theory on this, though,
yeah.
if I may. I believe they came up with the knowledge is power advantage first, and they wanted that to hit, and it doesn't end up being, and that's a great scene. We'll get to that. But I believe they came up with KIA first, and then we're like, how do we get people to know about everyone's advantages? And they come up with the phrases, so everyone knows, and whoever has the KIA can potentially use it, and it gets botched. I mean, I'm not going to say botched. I like to think that Liana didn't mess up as much as Xander, Evie, and Tiffany outplayed Liana and everyone else, but that's my thoughts on that. I did like the phrases a lot. I'll defend them.
And Gabe does bring up the big negative with the knowledge of powers. You lose your vote until the idol is activated. And we are 4 or 5 seasons into people losing their votes. It starts around 34, 35-ish. Can't remember exactly, where you have the possibility of losing your vote. And now something that plagues all of the 40s is the fact that there are situations that you were put in where you can lose. The most valuable part of your game is being able to vote. And now they have taken that from you, not most by, and it really hinders a lot of the gameplay that happens. So all these twists have such similar names, and I keep the Beware advantage. The Beware advantage is fine if it's in this bubble of, hey, you have to do something in order to get this. Yeah, I hate the stupid phrases, but whatever, let them do it. The fact that you lose a vote for finding an idol until you can activate it, which means you have to rely on two other tribes to look for idols, is where my qualm comes from.
And I agree with that qualm, and it even gets shown in a couple days for you that when Andy doesn't pick up the Beware advantage, and he comes back to it, I think it's just there's not necessarily benefits once you've seen these seasons and know that you're going to lose your vote, you're going to wait. And it's that aspect of it I don't like. You have to wait till the other 2 tribes find it. It's completely out of your. If you want, it should just be the phrase, and then say you say the phrase, and I on my tribe haven't found the idol yet, but then I find it, then I'll be like, oh, Andrew has this idol, and you can piece back to it. But I just don't like the fact that just the phrase is wonky, but I liked it, but it wasn't the best part, but I'll defend it a little bit.
Who was your winner pick going into the season?
I was trying to think back to who I thought was going to win. I really like Nasir from all the pregame stuff. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I
I
didn't hear
was
you.
saying mine was Abraham.
Oh, Abraham. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like he didn't get enough time to shine. Him and Sarah both. Like, I don't want to judge them as respective each first boost of their tribes because they
Yeah,
didn't get
absolutely.
enough time to shine. But I feel like outside of them, I would say kind of a dud. Jeannie's the only dud on this cast, in my opinion. Heather, even we love a purple queen or a purple person in general, and I love Heather for that reason. It's like, why did they do her so dirty? The fact that her and Erica make the final four and are not introduced as main characters at the beginning of the game, ridiculous editing. I don't understand it.
Yeah, and really the only and the reason I bring up Abraham is because we're going to his tribe. Well,
Yasa.
no, well, yeah, that's this cast. This cast is so what we needed at this point that I'm almost fine with at least 41 and 42. I'm fine with three tribes of six. And I don't hate it like a lot of other people do with 43 through 50. But like here, it's I feel like because we're getting back into the show, I want to be able to know these people. And the big qualm with two tribes of 9 or 8 or 10, depending on the season, is some people just kind of get buried early on. Now, it still does happen with the two people that you just mentioned, but I always chalk that up to they're winning all the time. In fact, the only Erica content that we really get for a lot of the season is we're shown on screen this tribe wants to throw a challenge to get rid of Erica. And it doesn't work because Nasir, who is amazing, and I love Nasir,
Yeah.
one of my favorites from 41. Nasir's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm just gonna go win this challenge anyway because
He is just Nasir. He will always beat Nasir, and he's great. And I was begging. I saw the writing on the wall, but not at his trouble yet, and we'll get there. But I was begging him to play the idol, but I digress about that.
Yeah, well, just go ahead, just talk about Nasir because the only thing that I have on Nasir that I really want to touch on is I said I hate the boy advantage and their fuck ass phrases is what I have on here, but the moment that Nasir says his phrase, because of how they edited the scene, and you don't know that this has happened. And when he speaks up and he says it, it's like, holy shit, this is good. I like this. I like the way that they flipped it on us. And I wish they had done that more, but that was the moment that I'm like fully on the new Nasir train. But yeah, go ahead about Nasir.
And Nasir was like really loyal to Shannon Ricard, and maybe he would have betrayed them. He doesn't seem like that type of person, but like in my opinion, it was too early for Shannon Ricard, and you can see it even the next round for Shan herself, like get ousted after the Nasir, and then Evie on the other side. But Shannon nothing to do with that. But the next tribal for Shan, it was a bad move, or too early of a move to take out Nasir, in my opinion. Too flashy, too big brain, in my opinion. When she could have got rid of Erica, that tribal council, and I was begging Nasir to play that idol, play that idol, play that idol, and just didn't happen for him. And you got to risk it, and he took the risk and lost.
Yeah, and the reason that we get there is because of the Mergatory. Our first version of Mergatory, the worst version of Mergatory, including 42, because at least in 42, the hourglass twist isn't split up into 2 episodes. In 41, we had to wait a week for an outcome that we all know as an audience is going to happen. There's no chance in hell that Eric is not doing this because that would be insane. The mergatory aspect of it outside of the hourglass twist, though, is what I want to kind of talk about because I don't necessarily hate that either. Earn the merge is the fact that they phrase it as earn the merge, it comes off as bleh. If you just kind of say, hey, you're merged, and the first person that gets voted out doesn't make the jury, which they've done plenty of times throughout the show's history. What shit that they do it in 50, right? Like the first 3 was it is that the Blood Moon episode? The merge happened.
Going to 3 separate tribals that with the Blood Moon, and the first person to win for each respective tribe won.
Those 3 didn't make jury though, right?
No. In that aspect, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. If they had just done it like that, it would have made more sense than the very convoluted mess that we get instead with this. Thoughts on Mergatory, the hourglass, and everything in between. And, Gabe brought up the Danny thing, a moment that I wish we could have had on our screen, but they'll never show it. It's been buried in the archive. So, thoughts on Mergatory and the hourglass?
I would pay good money to see that Danny scene. Not all my money, but a decent amount to see Danny go off on Jeff in production. But Thoughts in the Hourglass, it's a ridiculous twist. Like, you can tweak it in a little way. It's the trolley problem. Erica had to choose between the other group or her group to be safe. She should have just been safe regardless. And should have had to choose which of these two groups she's going to piss off. Because then if you're in that group that she chose and she had no skin in the game, I'm mad at her. Like, why didn't you pick the other group? And they like, are you not loyal to me? But when she's involved in, like, it's my safety, of course you're gonna pick yourself, and no one's gonna begrudge you for that.
That's how you change the hourglass to make it's still dumb, but you make it make more sense. Is take the person that's breaking it out of the equation. If you take them out of the equation, then it really is I'm picking this 6 versus this 6. Instead, it's I'm picking one side that includes me and the other side that doesn't include me. Of course, I'm going to pick the side that doesn't include me to be eligible to get votes because I'm trying to win the game.
If I may about this, some people that I've heard online discourse, and I try not to pay too much attention to them, but they discredit Erica because she was sent to exile and because she was going to be the boot that round, or at least we're shown that. But it's like she was away for exile for 2 days, and then I just don't get discrediting her just because she got she was under edited, and like she got the jury vote. She was most socially liked out of when she made the final 3, and I just don't like people discrediting Erica for one reason or another. Like,
this happened so early in the merge that like unless you were Mike Gabler, where you can sit there at Final Tribal and say, "Oh yeah, my big move was this move that happened pre-merge or after merge. Can't remember exactly, and we'll find out in a couple days." Unless you're Mike Gabler, Erica could have still lost the game along the way, and she doesn't because she was very social. It's frustrating that those people exist, but also everyone kind of knows my opinion on the Survivor fandom and how they're all horrible people, or well, generalizing, most of them are horrible people. That just don't understand what the game is. And this is a prime example because if Roxroy had won 42, like, oh, did he win because he broke the hourglass? Like, come on. Like,
I don't see that world.
Roxroy's not winning 42. Roxroy's not winning 42, period.
And now that we're at Mergatory, I believe this is probably the high watermark for the season. I really love the scene, the whole tribal council where Liana is going to take Xander's idol and gets really cocky about it. And then he says, no, but you can have this fake. And then she takes the fake, like, at least from what we see. And it's like, it's cinema. I love it. And it's just them out playing. And it's like, I don't know who was the actual big brains behind it. I guess it was a collaborative effort because Xander has to trust Tiffany to not screw him over. Evie's butt was on the line, and I believe Tiffany's butt was also on the line as well. All 3 of their butts were, but they stuck together for that vote and pulled one off against Knowledge's power, which probably pissed off the producers.
Do you know what's so funny about that is the fact that so in the same episode, this is part 2 of the Hourglass. I'm pretty sure this is part 2 of the Hourglass. Sydney goes home, right? Sydney goes home this episode. People bitch about, oh, the Hourglass, that's why Erica won, all of this, a very bullshit narrative. In that same vein, do you know what happens in this episode when the Knowledge's power is played and it doesn't work? Xander gets that big move that when he's sitting at the end and everyone's like, all these fans are like, oh man, Xander should have won because what he pulled during the Mergatory Part 2 episode way back when. It's like, so you're discrediting Erica for everything that happened in this episode, but you're giving credit for the second half of the season. The second half of the season, this happens here with Xander. It's just, we're going to raise $1 million for Xander because he loses, because it's not fair, because he pulled this big move off in episode 6 or whatever it was. And Erica pulled like it's not a big move as far as like everyone's gonna do it, but that doesn't take away from the fact that she did the right thing and kept her ass safe in the game. It's I've talked a lot about the Survivor fandom over the first 40 days of this. I'm going to try to avoid doing that as much as possible over the last 9-ish days of it, but it just kind of comes out sometimes. Knowledge is power, though, is one of those twists that it's very take it or leave it for me. I feel like it could lead to some very compelling TV. I don't think it's overly broken because you still have to have a great social game and social awareness to figure out who has what. In this situation, it does not work. But I think that in situations, and we're going to eventually see it. I enjoy what it could potentially bring to the table.
This is the season it should have worked. Like everyone knew where the idols were supposed to be, but Leonda just got outplayed, and I don't know if anyone else would have not got outplayed as well. I probably would have got outplayed if I was in that situation. So it's like she was just working on not caring information, and then none of the people who switched the idols leaked it, and that's what happened.
In my notes, going off what you and Gabe both talked about, I just have show the Danny moment, you cowards.
Right.
It's just sitting there. Just show the moment. The other big twist that we are introduced here, and we're going to lose it by the end of next season, is the do or die. Before we get to do or die, I do want to just quickly point out some of the boots that we get here because, like, we do lose a Shan here at some point.
We lose Tiffany and
we lose Evie. We lose a fair few people.
Clutched up in that immunity challenge, and I was very proud of them. They were surely gone from what was shown, and they clutched up and survived.
But we get to this point in the season where, for me, at least as a viewer then, which I had just been introduced to Edgic recently, so like I wasn't overly reading any of these edits. It was just kind of like whatever. And I felt like, oh yeah, it's probably going to be Ricard, right? Or maybe even like a Danny. But we get to the do or die episode. And I know people like to say that the Hourglass Twist episode is the worst, and I don't necessarily disagree with them. But the do or die thing is up there for me because it's just, why are we doing this now when our season has been plagued with these twists? And we're going to do another one. And this time, if the twist doesn't work, someone's getting eliminated from the game, even if they're on the bet. They're not being idled out. They're not being rocked out. They're not being advantage getting out. They're just, because they guessed wrong on a box, they are now out of the game because they chose to do immunity instead of sitting out and saving themselves. Go ahead.
How is this? I'm drawing parallels here from 50, and maybe it's recency bias. The Mr. Beast coin, it's like, that's luck too. I guess you can stack this odds in your favor via the Monty Hall problem, get 66%, which Deshaun doesn't do, but he still comes down top anyway. But I like I like's a strong word. I don't hate it as much as everyone else. I guess I just love Survivor too much, but like, and I guess I should critique it more, but like the fact that they gave the players the choice, they didn't, because I could very well see a world where everyone plays in this at the end of it. They're like, oh, we have this twist where the first person out is actually doing this thing and we're forcing you to do it. But they gave, I believe it was Heather and Liana sat out. They gave them the choice to sit out. I do feel like it's being forced upon them, but not as bad as it could have been. So that's my take on that.
And if you want to bring up the Mr. Beast thing, so it is presented as an option during the auction. And what the main online discourse, and I actually agreed with them with this, is, yeah, we were a bad flip away from everyone hating this. Because if it had not worked, if it not led to the moment that we get, and especially because of who gets booted in that episode, like everything worked in the end. Rick Devon's someone who I feel like most people like. I know there are certain people who don't like him because Jeff likes him, whatever. We're not talking about them. Rick Devon's someone who most people like flips this coin where if it's bad and he goes out, we're rioting in the streets. And instead, it works for him. He gets immunity. The winner of the season gets $2 million. And Stephanie LaGrossa, whom a lot of fans were not vibing with at this point, goes home in the episode and then spoils the next two boots. I feel like I agree with your comparison, but that is the biggest difference is the outcome worked in 41 and 42, but it wasn't everything surrounding it. Like it didn't ultimately, it didn't get the big positive out. It was just okay, this person survives, cool. In 50, it's this person survives, it's fine, and everything else surrounding it, including the fact that Mr. Beast is not hijacking the episode, which is what everyone's fear was going into it. It's like, oh man, this is gonna be all about Mr. Beast. And it was like, this dude was very humble. This dude was very humble the entire episode. Yeah, Gabe. So Gabe has not watched season 50. So Gabe, I hope that you hop in for the 50 live stream that I do on the 28th. But yeah, there was a moment, and briefly here, there was a moment where Rick Devens has to flip a coin. If he flips right, the cast wins $2 million. The winner gets $2 million, and he gets immune for that round. And if it goes the wrong way, he goes home without any type of, without any type of fanfare.
I just think the comparison was apt because, I didn't think about the $1 million adding aspect to it, but like if either of these, the Do or Die or Mr. Beast, went the wrong way, it's the same reaction from the fan base.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we would have lost it at that point. It would have. I feel like people's opinions on 50 are pretty mid. I know some people that really liked it. I know some people that are not the biggest fan of it. I'm probably mid right now.
That's exactly where it falls in my rankings. 25.
Yeah, and we'll see. We'll see how I feel about it in a few days. But if this goes wrong in 50, I'm not done. I'm gonna watch the rest of the season, but I'm angry. And I'm angry at almost anyone getting taken out there. There's probably, at that point, there's only 1 to 2 people that if they had flipped a coin and gone home, I would have been like, you know what, I'm fine with it. It's still a bullshit twist, but so yeah, so we have Do or Die. The last big twist, which I forget actually kind of originates in Island of the Idols, is the final 6-5 or whatever move to a different island. 5. Okay, yeah, they moved to a different island because I guess it couldn't have been 6 in Island of the Idols. But we're gonna go off to another island and just kind of start over again for a couple of days. And I'm fine with this. It's not game changing. It's just people going to a different island for the last few days. And this is
an advantage. They're looking for an advantage. At least here, 21.
So I was just ready to get to that. So talk about the advantage.
Yeah, it was them unscrambling a word, if I remember correctly, and them looking for the advantage. Erica eventually finds it, and that's a major advantage because I believe Ricard was right behind her in the puzzle, and had she not had that extra time and that advantage, Ricard very well could win that challenge and make it to the final 4 and have a chance to make fire making or win the challenge. And if Ricard makes the end, no matter who, even if Erica's there, probably beats Erica. So that's a big game changing for the season advantage and changes the trajectory of the game.
Yeah, and I'm all because I went to my second watch party for the finale, and this one I think I spent like $400 on shots that night. Because once again, I could afford to do $400 worth of shots that night. I cannot anymore. But I just remember that the crowd of people were more torn if it was going to be Sean or Erica once Ricard goes home. But I think a lot of people were convinced that Ricard was going to win the season. So when he does go out, and he has this little cute moment with Xander, where he's going to be Uncle Xander or whatever the phrasing was. And for it to go down the way that it does, yeah, it's one of those. Rob Sesternino, Terry Dietz type moments where it's like, yeah, they go home right before we get to the end. And I guess it's 5, but still. Final Four fire making. We're keeping this twist going into the post-COVID era. This is definitely one of the least memorable of the Final Four fire makings. But we ultimately lose Heather, who all of a sudden they want to tell us, and I believe that Heather was an integral part of the season, but they've chosen now to tell us it's very similar to Tiffany and 50. Oh yeah, this person. You need to care about this person. It's like, well, we don't because you didn't tell us about this person. Thoughts on Heather? Like, you've watched the season more than once, but thoughts on Heather? Can you watch the season and kind of at least see moments of, okay, yeah, I can see where this narrative could have been. What are your thoughts on Heather?
I like Heather. I believe one of the main scenes that I'm remembering from her was her arguing with Nasir. I believe it was her, and it was really funny. And you could tell, you can see in just the little snippets we get of her why she was casted or cast. I'm sorry, I hate that. It's my pet peeves. It's cast, but we can see why they cast her, and it's like I really like her. I just don't understand why they purpled her, like because she didn't have any advantages or didn't go on any journeys. But she was lockstep with Erica, and they were riding it all together. They never betrayed each other, unlike Shannon Ricard, who were a duo as well, but betrayed each other. And this ended up working out for Heather and Erica. And apparently, according to Exit Press, and I don't know if we get into that here, but like Heather had win equity. I don't know if
Yeah,
she would have got there,
yeah,
but she had it.
yeah. That is a big thing. Is Heather could have won the season, but we don't know that. We're sitting there thinking, oh, it's just okay. Oh, yeah, it's Heather. She wears her buff on her hat. That's like that's Heather, and it sucks because what ultimately happens to the winner is the same thing. Where we're sitting there at Final Tribal, and I don't understand the Deshaun versus Erica thing because I'm like, okay, clearly Deshaun's going to win.
do, do you understand why Xander took Erica? Like, if I believe,
He
yes,
probably
why?
was just as dumb as
It's
his
just,
fans. I'm just fine. No, I'm kidding. Uh, I don't understand. I don't understand why he took her. But I mean, I maybe he thought he was swimming up Shit's Creek without a paddle. Maybe he thinks he loses to all 3 of them, and he's just taking the 2 less possible people to beat him, and they both still beat him anyway. But yeah, I don't understand, and I'm not an anti-Xander person. I'm an anti-Xander fan person because why are you raising $1 million for someone that got 3rd place in the game?
well, his thing, like you mentioned earlier, was the move at the merge, and it was really early on. But like after Evie and Tiffany go out, well, in the reverse order, Tiffany and Evie, he loses all control and is just a passenger in Erica's game from what we're shown, and I think that's accurate.
Yeah, but Facebook mom's going to Facebook mom. Um, so we get and the big thing I want to talk about with Final Tribal is, and this is kind of where I turn on Shan. Is he or Shan basically attacks Deshaun and says he weaponized the whole racial thing, or at least she's implying that he weaponized the whole racial thing because it's the same time that we have the camp out with the internet it called them. We have the actual cookout in Big Brother. Um, Thoughts on that? Do you think that Deshaun there was a way that Deshaun could have gotten more votes, or do you think it was always just going to be Danny?
I don't envy his position, especially with where we were at in the time when they recorded this. Like you can see in his confessional when like he's like crying because he wants to make the best move for himself. Well, he's not necessarily bawling, but he's having a moment where he know
Yeah,
he wants to work with the black people for the camp out, but he also is like looking like, is this the best move for my game? And I do not envy that position because you're potentially screwed either way. If you go with the camp out, you could lose, but like you end up losing anyway. And I don't envy that, and I appreciate the fact that Danny stuck by him and gave him a vote because Deshaun doesn't deserve to be a zero finalist, in my opinion, and
no,
he's not.
no, and this I think I like said fuck. I mean, I was very drunk by this point. But I'm pretty sure I said fuck off when I heard that question because at no point did I ever feel like Deshaun was trying to utilize what was going on in the real world at that point. I didn't feel like he was purposely trying to utilize it. It's not Russell Hands with Hurricane Katrina. This is not that. This person's actually torn on what to do. And I have talked to a couple of Black Survivor players proper and just kind of asked their opinion on, did you feel like you were obligated to vote with the skin folk as compared to everyone else? And they're like, it's very hard. It honestly just depends on what's going on in the game, what this person's personality is like, this, that. There are a lot of factors to it. And I'm like, yes, I agree with you. I just want to gauge how you thought about it because at least from what we're shown, it shows like it seems like Shan's like, oh man, like you're basically a race trader because of this. And it's like, that's, as someone who has been canceled in the game once for being called a race trader.
I don't think she was like
this. It's not
hypocritical. If it's hypocritical of her to say that when she voted out JD in the pre-merge, and I love JD, but we passed the pre-merge. But like, it's very hypocritical that I think she was just, and she's entitled to her feelings, but she's a little upset about being outplayed by Deshaun, and she doesn't have to vote for Deshaun. But it was fair or foul. It was definitely foul or jury question, in my opinion.
Yeah, it made me feel ill. We're now at a point where I no longer have to ask, what is the modern fandom? What will they dislike about the season? Because it's like we're in the last 6 years now.
You don't think we've still kind of a lot since then?
Since 41, I mean, there's something like they've gotten rid of do or die. Like I feel like they've righted the ship a little bit. But I guess by tomorrow I'll have a different question I can ask people now. But we can kind of move on to who your ally would be this season.
Nasir. I would love to work with Nasir. He would just be a big ball of energy and fun and make me laugh, and I would try to make him laugh, and it'd be fun. And just seems to be, I never met him or anything, but he seems from the show to be a joy to be around. So I think I would make my number one if possible in this year.
Nasir is my answer. Nasir is my answer. So cheers to that. Nasir would be my answer. I guess if you were to do a DVD cover for, if you were to do, Gabe already put it. If you were to do a DVD cover for the season, who would it be?
Well, you have to have Erica in the middle as the winner. You have to have Deshaun, Ricard, Shan. I would put Evie in there. And who am I forgetting? Nasir. I would put Nasir.
Wasn't it? Okay, so Evie, Deshaun, Ricard, Shan, Nasir, Evie. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that would be mine as well. If we got the proper edit, I'd probably put Heather on there, but it's not there, so it doesn't matter. Erica, Deshaun, Xander, Evie, Ricard, Shan.
Yes, I guess not personally. I wouldn't put Xander up there, but like I get it. He was a huge part of the only confession I really remember him is the Final Five being like, "I'm a rock star" or something. It's really cringy to me. I was never a Xander fan. I appreciated his one move that he made though.
This is one of the only moments I've ever felt bad about something. So I was at the 43 premiere party, 43 or 44 premiere party, 44 because that was Carolyn. And Xander was dating Andrea Belke at the time. And so they walk in and someone goes like, hey, like, do you want to meet Xander real quick? And I'm like, no, not really. And I felt bad because it's like, I have no ill will towards this man. I just hate his fans this much that I don't want to meet this person. So eventually I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let me go talk to him for a bit. And we talked for about 5 minutes. He was very chill, very cool. And he was like, do you want to grab a picture? So yeah, sure. So we grab a picture and I'm like frowning in it. And I regret it because my issues are not with this man. It is with his fans, which I feel like they've kind of died out, thankfully. But that's just my Xander lore. I feel bad that it always comes off as if I'm anti him, but like, yeah, he's an all right dude.
When you get to 49, I want to see if you see the comparison because so many people I heard on Tyson's podcast. I don't know if it was him or Riley or whoever on that pod, but they compared Rizzo to Xander, and you're gonna watch 49 in like 8 days. I want to see if
Yeah.
like you think that they're similar, but I don't see it because Rizzo actually had allies that made it late in the game. He was in the know most of the votes besides the Nate vote, while Xander became a passenger after the merge, and then he lost his allies. I don't see the similarities, but you'll watch in 8 days and
Yeah,
get accurate.
maybe my opinion, because I like Rizzo, so maybe my opinion will change. Yeah, in 8 days. Brian, thank you so much for doing the short notice. I really appreciate it. I know life and all that, so I'm going to go back to the reception now. Thank you to everyone who's continued to tune in. Tomorrow, oh goodness. I know it's 42, but where will I be at? Because I'm still traveling right now. I think I will be at a friend's apartment in New York to record that one. I won't be home again until season 44, 45. Let's say it like that. So thank you all. We will see you tomorrow night for Survivor 42.